All right. The main topic is why we think that MonsoonSIM can be a very good and almost like the preferred way to run remote lessons. Here's what we assume. We assume the following. First of all, as a facilitator, as a teacher, you don't have much time to do any hand-holding, okay, for your students. You don't want to tell them where to look, what to click, what is the report about. You want them to explore. You want them to discover. So you don't have much time for that. Secondly, you want to have the shortest possible setup time. So when you run a game or set up any game, doesn't have to be Monsoon, any game that or any classes or any lab project, you want it to be as short as possible time as possible because it's not educating, you know, those time wasted. So you want it to be very, very simple setup. Thirdly, you do not have much time to attend to the learners one by one. Yes, which is almost the same as the number one. You don't have much time to do any hand holding. And the fourth is you don't have much time to observe learners' progress one by one. Because, you know, let's say you have 50 students and out of 10 groups. So it's hard to observe one by one because you have to click into their screen and observe, or you can observe it from the CT's view, which is what we are talking about today. Then the fifth is your web call, whether it is Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft Teams, sometimes the breakout rooms may or may not work properly, right? Then they have to struggle with the audio. Then they'll struggle with the background noise, who is being muted and not. So there's a lot of time wasted in all this. Then you're always keen to know the state of mind of your learners at all times. Yeah, as a facilitator, we want to know what is going on at all times because as the student play their game, they doing self-discover, they're not going to tell you what they learn. Yeah, they're not going to share what they have discovered. So it would be nice if you know what they have done, right? So as a facilitator, that's what you're responsible for their education. So in other words, you don't want the stress, but you wish to have the best outcomes. Okay, so I think that assumption is correct for all CT, myself included. Okay, so here are the 5 reasons why we think that MonsoonSIM is perfect, and it is the following. The first reason is easy setup. Okay, we would like you to set up a course really within 5 minutes, everything set up. That's the dream, right? How do you do that? So the idea is that you can then give them one page to follow. You have this guide that is you can turn on and off on your screen. At the same time, you can watch them coming in. And this is going to be live updated in version 9. Okay, let me show you the real example. So I'm going to create a game now. A new game, version 9. I want to call it demo. And I use my server, lab server, and I'm going to use the Southeast Asia locale. The new game, now I'm going to run it. First thing first is when you come to, you have to set up the team. I have 2 colleagues here that I would like them to join. So I'm going to call it Team Didi, and I'll create a team called Team Jackie. Okay, so once I have created these 2 teams, yeah, I can then ask them to join me by simply clicking this. Okay, so I can show this guide along with this registration page, along with the registration boxes, and I can observe live as they come in. So right now I would call upon Jackie and Didi, please come in. There you go. As you can see, I can get a live update of their registration. So I just saw Jacqueline came in. And I like to see Jacqueline create. There you go. So can you imagine now if I have 50 students, all I have to do is to open up this page and then sit here and watch them come in one by one. So that is the beauty of this live update. All right, so if they have a problem, then Jackie will see the screen and Jackie will ask her colleague, hey, why haven't you come in, right? And they can help each other. So therefore, this is very, very convenient. And the game code is clearly written here, so they don't need to ask, and everything is following this page. Now notice that at the end of this, they will see this page, right? The student will see this page. So now I'm going to show you their page. This is their page, right? So they will be waiting there, waiting for the game to be initialized. There you have it. So now I'm going to reduce my screen, and I'm going to bring this over. So this is my teacher screen. This is my learner screen. Okay. So that is the first reason why we think that MonsoonSIM helps, because it is very convenient, easy setup. Now, not to forget that we have these courses that you can just come here and load. So now I'm going to come in and load 1 or 2 courses. So I'm just going to load Retail Business 1 course. And there you go. I have loaded this course. And then I'm going to even turn on marketing. And I'm going to turn on forecast. Okay, so I've loaded the course, but I still can configure. Again, come back to the beginning of the registration, creating teams, asking them to come in while I sit here and watch them coming in live. And if I need to, I turn on the registration guide, but if I don't need, I just turn it off. Once I'm happy with them coming in, I can just select a course and that's it. Now, that's reason number 1. Then I'm going to do reason number 2. There is the Boss for Learner. Boss is the rule-based AI. It is actually a teaching assistant that will pop up on the learner screen and giving them guidance. I'll show you in a minute live. But here we have rules and we have facts. So our system will have a bunch of rules and a bunch of facts. The facts are changing all the time, yeah? So for example, the facts are, there's like 7 teams in the system, or, the marketing is being turned on, or no, the wholesale is being in play or not. So these are called the facts. And what are the rules? The rules is, these are the algorithm that we are suggesting to the students. So if you're running out of cash, then you should think about conserving your cash. So that's the rule. Okay. The facts are your cash is 200,000. And the facts are your bank facility is running low. If you combine this, then we have advice. So this is the rule-based AI that we have built that helps the student. There's a lot more for the student. Not only it will pop up on their screen, you can also click any of this underline. There's a definition. What is a store? What is cash on hand? As soon as there is a description that we need to help the student more, we put an underline and they can click to pop up. There's a pop-up box that will explain what store is. Not only that, the student can scroll through all the advices. So it could be 1 advice, 2 advice, 3 advice. So the student, when they have the time or when they have done with 1 advice, because at any one time, the boss will give them multiple advice. For example, your rooms is running low, your cash is running low, you forgot to do this. So these are the 3 advices that will come in, and the student can just click and navigate through a series of advices. All right. So that's the additional feature that is built in version 9. Then we have this thing called Show Me Tips. So whenever there is a suggestion for the student, we also give them show me how, show me why, show me where. So they can click, and then there is a pop-up online guide to guide them how, step by step. You click here, then you click here, then you click here. So I'm going to show you a live example of this. So I'm going to start this game, initialize game. It's initialized. Now I'm going to turn on the boss. Click here and I say boss allow, yes. There you go. So boss is ready. there's a series of advice here. First, you can do this, what this tell you about your game environment, which you can click, and it will tell you what is this about. So that's what we call by online help. Okay, then you can go through a series of advice. Cash on hand. What is cash on hand? You click and there's a pop-up box. Okay, so there's a show me, there's a cash on hand, and the data is live data based on your current data. Okay, so these virtual teaching assistant not just give you generic advice, but it gives you very specific advice. Now, so let's run this game. Okay, so I'm going to run the game. There you go. So as a student, if they're lost, for example, then they read this and they can see what they need to do, right? Show me how. So this is to click here, click location, and then next, and click on the location, and then the guide will go away once you have done certain things, etc. Okay, so this is Didi is currently running, but I'm running on her behalf. So I'm just showing you that the boss is there. Okay, so that's the student, and this is the facilitator screen. All right, so back to my presentation earlier. You have seen this, and you have understood this, like rule-based AI. Now I'm going to go to the next reason, which is the boss for teacher. So not only the boss will give the students hands-on advice, real-time, individually, the boss will also give you alert, and the alert will look like this. Okay. For example, day 5, this team need to set up their store. This team forget to do this. This team has done this, but he forgot to do this. So these are also live update. So as a teacher, we always like to know the state of mind of the learners all the time. So by looking at this, there is a window that we can see what is the latest status of the student. Okay, so the boss will report back to us. I'll give you a live example of this. Here's the live example. I can click here and click boss alert. There you go. So while the students are playing, I can see their status on my screen. There you go. This team has one PO that requires approval. Now they have forgotten to do that. So we know way in advance or before they struggle as to why their shipment is not coming, because we already know. So we can give them advice, right? For example, this team's net profit is negative, right? There's zero inventory to sell in some store. So what we can do is give them some advice and say that, Team Jackie, you have negative profit, you have to watch your profit, etc., etc. So every day there is update on the latest status of the students. So we are really using AI here to help the student to learn and help teacher to give proper advice, timely advice. Now, okay, let's go on to the next topic, the third one. Reason number 4, Chat 2.0. So earlier we mentioned that you may be struggling with Zoom, the audio and the headphone and the echo and so on, right? You can always use MonsoonSIM chat. And I have done this personally without the audio. I have used just chat to run a few courses, but I just make sure that they turn on the chat. And it is very doable. And I show you why, right? There are 2 types of rooms. One is the game room where everybody can talk to everyone here. So everybody can see, everyone is in the game room. And then we have team rooms that belongs only to the team. Okay. Then the new 2.0 chat means that the CT can be a part of this team also, so that the CT can also read their message or participate in their discussion without participating this room's discussion. So you can split yourself into this room, or this room. And there could be many rooms, right? If there are 10 teams, there are 10 team rooms. So it becomes very versatile. When the student wants to have something to discuss privately, then they discuss without involving the teacher. But if they do want to ask a question to the teacher that requires their friend to know about it, then they can CC the teacher. We have to call it concept called CCF, carbon copy to the facilitator. Let me show you what happened. Okay, now I'm going to stop the game just to start from beginning. Why I want to start from beginning, I want to show you something. This thing, let me turn off the boss for now. So I can turn off the boss for now. By the way, you can also give the boss only to the facilitator. So you can just enjoy the boss alert without letting them have the boss. Okay, so you can choose this option. So now I'm going to turn the boss off. So this guy will go away. Okay, by the way, just want to mention, if you haven't discovered, when the boss is out, you can always turn it off by clicking it. Okay, then if you already know the advice, you can memorize, you know, if you're very familiar with MonsoonSIM, you can just turn it off by clicking this. All right, so now I'm going to turn it off totally. Off you go. Go, good. Now I'm going to turn on the chat. We call it chat and monitor. Right now it's off, so now I'm going to turn it on. If I turn this on, notice that the student will have this. So I can right now, when the student comes in, at this moment, I can chat with them, right? I can chat in the game room and I say, welcome. Welcome, Jackie. Right, welcome, Didi. So they will not be lost, right? Waiting for what's going on with the teacher. So the teacher immediately can tell them the status of the game right now. Okay, please wait 5 minutes while we wait for others, right? Let's say. So the student will immediately get to know the status. Imagine you run a game, let's say 8 o'clock tonight. You give them a game code, they come in, you already set up your team. So by 8 o'clock, you come in and then you start chatting away without starting the game, right? They can even talk to each other. So they can talk in the team room with themselves. Okay, so this is team to team. So you can see that this team, they're talking to in the team room. Now, they can also talk to me as a teacher if they like to. So for example, I'm going to reduce this and I'm going to just focus on the team. Yes. So if this is Team Jackie, can you please write something and CC me? There you go. So there is a checkbox here called CC Facilitator. So if Jackie wants to talk to me and say that, please explain about whatever. Then if they do a carbon copy to Facilitator, then I will receive this. Now the teammate will know that this is CTF. That means this message is also read by the teacher. Okay. Now, if I go to attend to Team Didi, then I'm listening to what Didi is talking. Then I can come back to Team Jackie and get up. Okay. So if I go to attending some of the team, and if Jackie talks to me, right, say YYY, carbon copy. Then if I come back to Jackie, I will get the YYY, the carbon copy. So I will not lose any chat, and I can always know which student is in trouble because they have a question that I forgot to attend to, and I can always look back and attend to it. So I can go to Team DD and get the message, and I can go to Team Jackie and get the latest message. That is only if they want to involve me by having the CCF in their chat. If they do not click that, then I won't see it, right? If they chat among themselves, then they can also chat among themselves. Then I won't see it. Okay, so that's the concept of having team room with or without the facilitator. Okay, and the facilitator can always expand this and reduce this to save space. So that is the latest. Now, let me just load a course and run this. All right, so now I have loaded this course. I'm going to turn on marketing and whatever. Then I'm going to run this, initialize the game. This is the new student page. There is a little menu here. That's the chat. They can turn it on or off anytime. And it doesn't affect their regular transaction. This is what they do regularly. So the chat is always there for them to communicate, because communication is getting very, very important in this team game and in this pandemic. So therefore, we have really put a lot of effort in making the conversation seamless. All right. So if I turn it off, for example, the teacher doesn't want to do this, and then it can turn it off totally, completely. But I would suggest that everyone turn it on, because I think this is really, really helpful for the student. So that is the latest chat. I'm going to move on to the 5th is called learner transaction monitoring. You will see the transaction that is being conducted by the student live, everyone per team, and is live updated. And then you can also do a transaction explorer if you like to. And then you can also get a summary report. So this is what we mean. Let's go back to the live example. So I have a facilitator room, I have the student room, yeah? So now, for the sake of this, I'm going to turn off this guy, yeah? Okay, let's go. So I'm going to run this game, and I'm going to make it quite fast, 10 seconds. Let's go. All right, so now I'm going to sit here and watch their transaction. There you go. So I got the first transaction coming in, Team Jackie. Team Jackie is managing a shop rental on day 2. And Team Jackie is buying a marketing report. And Team DD just started his rental on day 3. So I can just sit here and watch their transaction one by one, and it's all captured in this page, in this box. Okay, I can always roll up and down. And for each of the transaction, there is an ID here. I can click to see the detail. So I know that Jackie has just invested in marketing for apple juice in Jakarta for 200 Sing dollars. And the status is approved. So while they're playing, while they're learning, I know exactly what's going on, and I can give timely and proper advice to them. And how do I give the advice? I suggest going through here, right? And then you just say that, wow, nice. Yeah. I saw that you have done, invested in marketing, and there will be blinking here, indicating that there's a message coming in, and then they will see this. And I get a reply from Jackie. Okay. Now, if I do see something that I need to announce to everyone, then I just go through the game room and say that, okay, taking a break in 5 minutes. Or, we are going to turn on our forecast now in 2 days. I have personally run a game without stopping, and all my communication with them are through these 2 boxes, and they totally get it. Okay, so I don't even have to stop the game, I just communicate away. But all I do is to ask them to pay attention to the chat. But now, because the chat is very, very visible to them, they're not going to miss it. And it stays open, right? While they run. And then I have the most timely information that I can share. I can talk to them. So this is called the learner transaction monitoring. Then you say, okay, can I save this report? Can I get I want to search this report and so on? Yes, you can. The answer is coming back to this menu. Okay. Binoculars. There's something called learner activity. So here you can see the activity that the student have gone through. So you can say, okay, who has done marketing? Okay, so you have done marketing, all right? So what has DD been doing so far, right? What is his name? So I can search by his name. Okay, so this is what you have done so far, right? Or I can search by team. And all of this, I can just export to Excel and do further analysis and maybe it's good for my assessment. And not only that, I get a summary here. I know what is the transaction being conducted by Siddhartha so far. He has done 8 transactions. Jackie has done 4, 6. And I know that Didi has done 8 as a team. This is as a learner, this is as a team. So it may be helpful for your assessment. It's up to you. You decide, right? Those who are actively participating, then you may give them participation points. It's all up to you. Okay, so that's the latest activity report. There will be more charts coming up, such as we can tell who has done what in which department here, that you will find very interesting. For example, I can tell now that this team is focusing more on wholesales and services, and the other team is more focused on retail. How do I know that? Because the report will be here. We'll give you a summary. We'll give you the heat map, and then you will see. And don't forget, you have the transaction detail here if you want to do your own analysis. And this table is now available in your in your data analytics table. So if you do a live access, you can set user access. If you use Power BI or Tableau, if you log in using these credentials, you will find this table only for the CT, but for the learner, they don't get it. But for CT, you may want to show it. But I think this, personally, I think this table is good enough for me. I can do a lot of analysis from it. Summary is, MonsoonSIM is about learning business concept in the context of running a business. It's designed for all levels, complexity, adjustable by the facilitator, learner learn in team, facilitator control the time, size, timing and tempo, and many, many more. Okay, easy setup, virtual assistant to watch over the learners, the same virtual assistant to report back to you, you have a comprehensive chat system, and you have real-time learner transaction monitoring. Okay, so this is my presentation. And finally, if you haven't done so, please follow us for more information.